Welcome to the Foundery, where leaders are forged daily. Each week we investigate themes of leadership, entrepreneurship, and mindset with some of the greatest minds in real estate. And now, the data scientist of real estate, George Roberts.
Okay, welcome back, entrepreneurs. Today, I'm going to interview Divya Smith. This is our round two. We're going to get a little deeper into her investment thesis. We've got a lot of great things to discuss today. We talked a lot about leadership and entrepreneurship systems, the importance and value of relationships and building and developing people on your team in round one. So I hope if you're tuning into this to round two, that you go back and check that out. And for those of us ready to move on to round two, definitely want to move in deeper with that investment thesis of yours. Where are you finding the best deals? I know you talk a lot about professional property management, and I'm sure you're looking at the larger deals. What is a large deal to you, and why are you finding the value in those deals now?
Absolutely. So DFW is a market that I'm focused on. I do live in this space, and for me, that's just important because I can go drive to the property, I can check out the location, I can really get a feel of how many other employers are close by to that property that I'm looking at. My focus is as well in kind of middle income folks who have jobs around. So my most recent property is very close to two hospitals. It has multiple employers close by. So that really makes a big difference to make sure the occupancy percentage, continues to stay up. The other thing I would say is in this space, in DFW market specifically, I also like to look at larger properties between 250 to 300 units. So our most recent one is about 350 units. One that I did last quarter was 250 units. And there's something to be said about economies of scale. So, I have quite a few friends who have reached out to me and said, hey, should I invest with you or should I do a single family home? And my response usually is, hey, how about you do both and write the numbers out in Excel spreadsheet? I don't want to tell you one or the other way, but truly look at your returns, look at the effort, and give it an honest feedback between the two. And where are you getting more returns? And I think that is it's an epiphany for a lot of people to kind of come to that realization that how much effort it takes for a single family home to generate similar amount of cash that you would in multifamily. So it's a fascinating, conversation after that.
Well, I like your approach. I'm an all of the above kind of guy, but I like it for another reason in that completely mirrors my experience. When I got into single family homes, and it was a great investment, I'm not putting it down. I have a lot of friends that are very skilled at that. They know how to turn the crank. They're doing amazing things in single family homes. And I think if that's where you're at, if that's your wheelhouse, keep doing it. But I realized that for a similar amount of work, I could be getting much better returns with the economies of scale. And, hey, let's be clear, a lot of this is about passive investing. I'm working on releasing a book on passive investing later this year. To think that I can put my money, park that with somebody that I trust. And again, there's a lot to that. You should trust the operator, the integrity, the track record. You got to trust the deal. You should know about the market. There's a lot of work that goes into it. But man, passive investing can, in many cases, generate better returns with that economy of scale than going out there doing the work. And then what do you do with your next $100,000? You invest like, say, 50, 75, who knows? I mean, depends on your market, what a single family home costs with the leverage you put into. Of course, I know a lot of single family home investors. This is really what left me running for the exits from single family homes. I was ready to go deeper. And I asked a local investor, he's got a great meetup. And I said, you mentioned in your seminar that you don't leverage these things. And he says, no, I don't. I'm a leader at work and I'm busy. And, at that point, I got like $100 or $200 of cash flow each month. And I thought, are you kidding me? You're not even using one of the best aspects of real estate, which is that you can leverage it. Not saying you can't leverage single family homes, you can, but to think that it's that much trouble that many single family home investors don't do that. I said, forget it. I'm going for the economies of scale.
Yes, couldn't agree more. You know, like that space where you talk about passive investing and kind of the money that it can provide you. Really important. I think a lot of people really don't realize the economy is working in your favor. And, you know, one of the plugs that I'm going to just have is you talked about my webinar. Last week, I talked with Prolette, and Prolette is 100% passive investor. She started investing 5 years ago, invested heavily in syndications, and she was able to quit her W-2 job. She was making same, if not more money in syndications through passive cash flow and then the returns that she got from those deals. And she was in Thailand for 2 months, you know, traveling. And she kind of looked at me and she said, hey, I had this revelation where I thought about, do I really need to do something? I feel like I should be doing something productive. And then she realized she didn't need to. She had enough passive income. She didn't really need to do that. So, you know, kind of being in that space, that true freedom where you feel like, hey, for these 2 months, I'm experiencing a country and I don't want to think about work. I don't want to think about, you know, other tasks I got to do. So it was such a incredible story to really see the power of passive investing firsthand from somebody who decided they didn't want to be a GP, they didn't want to be a sponsor, but they just wanted to do passive investing.
You know, and I love it. And I love it that we're coming back to, in the second half, the personal angle, because again, it's so huge. I remember the book, I think it was the man who had no emotions. Somebody correct me on the title, but he couldn't get out of bed, right? Because these emotions, people kind of deride them like, well, I'm a logical person, you know, I execute, you know, but really, you gotta want something really bad before you have the stick-to-itiveness to do anything. These emotions are important. It's why we do what we do. Right now, I can tell you, Divya, in my house, it's about 2:45 Eastern time, and my kitchen is buzzing because in about 15 minutes, we're going to cut this, and I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to have family lunch. A lot of families have family dinner, but because I have passive income and because I am running my own show as an entrepreneur, I get to see my kids when they come home. I have that blocked off on my schedule, family lunch. So, hey, it's great if we can have a family dinner on top of it, but every day, kids come home about 2:45, 3 o'clock. We have our depends on how you call it. My dad was kind of from Maryland. So we call this dinner. We call the third meal of the day supper. So we got dinner on the table at 3 o'clock, and and it's beautiful. I mean, it's, you got to remember, you got to think about the prize. Like, why are we doing this? We're doing this so we can go out and live and love. And if you would have seen me, I was on a podcast yesterday. I had my yerba mate gourd from South America. That's my adventure that I'm planning right now. I go out every night. I dance tango or Latin dance, and I want to take the whole family this summer. I want to go down to Buenos Aires, see if we can experience that culture firsthand. People say that's not the right time to go because it's their winter, but it's when I got the kids.
Yes, yes, that's totally makes
So I'm going to do it. I checked the temperatures. It's not bad. Buenos Aires in the winter is not bad at all. Not if you come from Michigan.
that
Anyway,
totally.
sorry, I did a lot of talking there, but yeah, completely resonates with me. It's huge. I mean, if you're out there and you're thinking, when is this going to happen? It's going to happen. Just stick with it. Stay the course. Keep investing with great people. Do all that due diligence, and you're definitely going to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you should be able to enjoy your life like that.
Yes, you know, George, you talked about kind of why you're doing what you're doing, right? So it's, I know I'm calling it out, but I call it out for a reason because we don't take a minute to think about why we are doing what we're doing. We end up working 50, 60, 70 hours, and then to realize we made all this money so that we can do things with our family, so that we can spend time with them. But then we in turn keep realizing it's basically a spiral downwards into the number of hours we end up putting in our jobs, and it's taking away time from our family. So how can you now really pivot and think about, hey, what is my purpose in all this? What do I want to do? And one of the things I personally realized over time is if I'm able to give people a chance to invest passively and they're making an income passively, then they really reveal themselves. They're able to really focus on things that matter to them. You know, when we take out the shackles, when we take out the constraints of people really on day-to-day expenses. And now you're free to do what you want to do. Whatever you're going to do, it's going to be the best version of you. It's going to have your full heart, your full focus. And that vision, that drive continues to go for me to be able to share, these deals with folks so that they can now live their best life.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah. I mean, think about human potential. And when I think about things like living your life creatively, life by design, it's ever expanding. When you go from the corporate environment to becoming an entrepreneur, I feel like, wow, I learned a lot about what it's like to run my own show. I mean, my imagination expanded. We talk all about these limiting beliefs. Yeah, that was one level of limiting beliefs. And then thinking, hey, I could get in a single family, I could get in real estate. That's great. Hey, why don't I buy 10 or 20 or 100 units? Started with 14. Wow, that's huge. And then when you get to the passive income level and you realize, wow, I've got this IRA. Yeah, sure. I worked in the corporate environment and that, hey, that was fun. It was good. It was real. But, but what do I do now? Yes. Well, you got that 401k. You've got that IRA. I mean, hopefully you kept it as a 401k because it's even better than having a self-directed IRA. But you 401k, self-directed, whatever it is. And then you realize, wow, that's another excuse that I have to go out and meet awesome operators, invest with them, and then build that income where you can go out and do what you want, live the life of your dreams. I mean, what I find is that the dreams just keep getting bigger.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And to your point, like that fear is real, right? So for some people who are going from corporate to want to jump into real estate, they want to start there. That fear is real. And I think that is real for a lot of us. So my recommendation in those specific places is start small, start investing while you're still working, learn passively, continue to kind of do that for a couple of years, really get comfortable as you start to see some returns, as you start to see some cash flow come through, realize, is this what you want to do? Or maybe you can just back off from your current job that you may be loving it, but you just don't want to do it 50, 60 hours. You could pull back on that, enjoy life more, and still invest passively. So there are many ways to do this. End of the day, you got to know what you want to do and figure out a goal and, take those small steps to achieve that goal.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And what I'm hearing there is build your runway. It's kind of like lawyers, right? They say best time to contact a lawyer is before you need one. Build that runway today so that when it comes time, because I just had a friend, brilliant guy. He's a data scientist, reached out to me today, said, wow, company just let me go. And, I said, I'm sorry, man, but you know what? May you look back in 1, 2, 3, 5 years and say, that was a good day. That was a pivotal moment in my life. So yeah, build that runway today. You don't know when you're going to need it, but you want that to be, you want a long runway.
Agreed, 100%. And the beautiful part about all this, I thought my runway would be 10 years. Things have come true much faster than that. So you just never know. You may be looking out at goals much longer, and then you may just be pleasantly surprised some of the things that come to you sooner than that. So you got to go in the right direction. You can't take big steps, but in wrong direction. It's not going to lead you to the right place. You take small steps towards the right direction.
100%. And I didn't know how personal I was going to get with this, but I think I'll just say it. Hey, you said 10 years and it came a lot faster. I was working in fintech. And when those interest rates went up like crazy, hey, I was already spending my free time on real estate. I built that runway for 1, 2, 3 years. And that was huge to me. Actually, maybe 4. I mean, I was working on building that construction company that my sister brother-in-law are now running at least 4 years ahead of time, maybe 5. But, you build it up, build it up because you don't know. I didn't know that interest rates were going to go up like crazy. And that, guess what? Here in fintech, we're making residential home loans. They only, I'm going to say half as much. I don't know what the company's down to, but that when that day comes, you want to just be able to look them in the eye and say, thank you, thank you, because you know that you built that runway and you're already happier where you're at.
Yes, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. I feel the same way with kind of how my career journey has progressed. And when I decided to kind of switch over to real estate full time, absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, this has been amazing. And I feel like the best interviews are the ones where I feel like I just have to consciously cut myself off and say, we all good things must come to an end. But here we are, we're at that time. This is the wrap up. I like to call it the seventh. What do you say, Divya? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Okay. Here, if you could be known for only one thing, what would it be?
I love cooking. I know a lot of people wouldn't even think of that, but I actually love cooking. And I start with the idea in mind, and what ends up on the table is usually different. And my kids usually love it. So thank goodness they eat everything that I put in front of them. But yeah, my cooking, I hope my kids will remember that forever.
All right, cooking is amazing. That's the next teacher I want to get. I've been getting teachers through South America, and it's really, really cheap. I want to learn Argentine cooking. So cooking is amazing. My son does it. He cooks stuff from all over the world. You know how to cook, enriches the entire family.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What's the greatest lesson in leadership you've learned as an entrepreneur?
One thing that I learned much younger in my career that still holds true today in my entrepreneur days is attitude over aptitude. It holds true every single time. I hire for attitude because I can teach them the things if they have the right attitude, the right growth mindset. So attitude over aptitude.
Beautiful. Okay, so Divya, what personal characteristic has been most pivotal to your success?
I would say gaining perspectives from different point of views. You start out with a point of view from a leadership, and then you kind of build and ask your team for different point of views. So the differentiating moment for me in leadership is really understanding perspectives from different point of view and then making a decision. Now, that decision may still be what you thought originally was good, but you took care of all the inputs and made sure you involved everybody in the process.
Huge. All right, so now let's mix it up a little bit. I've got these random question cards.
Oh,
Could be
wonderful.
anything, could be anything from the prosaic to the profound. Tell me when to stop cutting the deck.
You can stop now.
All right, top of the deck. What are your simple pleasures?
I like to work out. So for me, that is just a very basic thing. If I can get a workout in, it just puts a smile on my face more than it usually is. I'm just excited and energized even further.
Huge. I love that. Got to have that. Without health, you have nothing, 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 nothing. Can you give us a tip or trick that investors can implement in their business today?
Be really clear about your goals. So if you do not know where you're going, you will not be able to take step towards those goals. So just be really clear about your goals.
Can you name a book that's helped to forge you as a leader and as an entrepreneur, and tell us why?
So it's the newest book that I'm reading, and it's called 10X is Better Than 2X. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs, especially in real estate, have heard of that book. Now, the one thing I really like about that book is it takes me back to my corporate environment where you have small teams of 5 people, but now when you're expanding to a team of 100, you have to think differently. And the same thing kind of applies in real estate. So when you're managing a single family home, you would think about things differently. So the 10X is better than 2X really pulls you up and has you think about your strengths and then the areas where you can really get help from other people that you can hire.
And if you could send us out with a quote to help forge our listeners as leaders and entrepreneurs.
I'd say mindset really matters. It is really important what you think about. So be really careful about what you're feeding your mind. It is really important. We think about feeding just from a food perspective, but think about what you're feeding your mind, body, and soul. Really important.
It reminds me of some great advice from my grandfather that don't let anything get on your skin, and be really careful what you allow to make a habit. So yeah, great stuff. Huge. And I'll turn it around, and we can make this 8 then. If you'd like to ask me a question, I'll let you turn the tables.
Yes, absolutely. One of the things that was intriguing when you had asked me to be on this podcast is your focus had shifted not just from real estate, but towards leadership. Can you tell me a little bit kind of why that shift and, what sparked that interest for you?
Yeah, so I feel that entrepreneurship is one of the great proving grounds for leadership talent. And I know that it's expanded my life immeasurably. If you're listening to the second part of the interview, if you haven't seen the first yet, we talked a lot about the differences between corporate world and entrepreneurship. I think it's just huge. I think there are so many people out there who maybe feel a little lost in the corporate environment, but entrepreneurship is a completely different world. And for me, it just literally changed my life. I want to share that message with everyone. So
Wonderful.
I want to thank you for that question. I want to thank you for coming on the show, Divya. You've shared an extraordinary wealth of knowledge and information with our audience. I just want to make sure everybody can contact you. So what is the best way to reach out to Divya Smith?
So I am pretty active on LinkedIn, so you can follow me on LinkedIn. You can also email me at divya@ascendingavenue.com, or you can check out my website at www.ascendingavenue.com.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.